And I'm live. Look at this. By myself. I'm unshaved, where my hair's a mess. Look at this. Look at this. Just disheveled. I'm I'm not even complete today. But we'll get through this. We'll get through this. We're live. Look at that. Oh man. What a week. We'll wait for people to start trickling here before we kick this off. Hey, Rolls, thanks for subscribing 20 months. Peace. I love your Rolls. Thank you so much for being here every Tuesday night. Like clockwork, man. You're the best. You're the best. Yeah, man, there's not much news this week, but we'll be talking a little bit about things like the Lord of the Rings and Cyberpunk 2077 DLC dropping soon, that sort of stuff. What's going on, Dan? What's going on? Who's here? We got a few people here. I might run the credits and just get the ball rolling. Yeah, number 5. Well, I mean, so when you count shots, right? So the first shot is a two-parter, so first two, and then I got the first booster for that end of last year, so right around December or November, December, give or take, is when the first booster was allowed. And then I got my second booster right before PAX East, so that was 4 shots. And then they greenlit the new Omicron booster. So Vax 1, 2, and then 3 boosters. So yeah, so 5th shot, 4th, I guess if it's a half dose for the first one, or the big dose. I don't know how to count them. I got 5 shots, and on my card I've now flipped over because the first 2 are actually written on there. So I mean, it counts as 5, I guess, right? But yeah, they greenlit the booster for the new Omicron stuff, and the wife works at schools. I've got kids, and might as well just get on it. So we signed up for it as soon as they greenlit it, and we jumped in. And it's not like people in Texas are running to get a shot, right? So it is what it is. But I'm fueled by Ritalin, COVID, coffee, and passion, right? So let's go. Let's kick this off. Oh man, welcome to Mid-Geek Crisis, episode 188. I'm flying solo this week. Pedro, you know how it works, right? Like if we've got if you work in any type of corporate environment, that first day back after a holiday hits you hard. Sometimes it turns out to be 2-3 days worth of work all in one. Mine was pretty heavy today as well, and but I didn't want to disappoint you guys, because I got fans and I don't know. Still chuckle thinking about how I rewarded myself 2 weeks after my second initial shot by going out to. Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, those were dark times, right? Like we didn't know what was happening. We didn't know how bad this was going. We had no shot. People were dying and on ventilators all over the place here in the U.S. We had family members. We had no idea what the outcome, what the symptoms were, etc. So being vaccinated meant like, oh crap, I'm safe. And we did the same thing. We got our shots and we went out, and it felt good to kind of have that freedom. That said, though, here we are 2-3 years later now, and we've still got this shot. We still got the COVID still running around. It still exists. It doesn't take as many people out anymore because hopefully many of us are vaccinated, but you still hear occasionally random people that pass away from COVID because A, they never got vaccinated, or B, they were vaccinated and it hit them hard anyway. I mean, it's the vaccine isn't a guarantee, right? It's just a preventative. You're not 100% ticket at this point. Oddly enough, mine was kind of light today. Very strange. Your day was kind of light. That's interesting. Yeah, it's the way it works. If with us, I work with banks and banking software and whatnot. So of course, Monday was a federal holiday, so that means that there were no deposits, no transactions happened. And if you're familiar with like how banking works and Fiserv and all of these like financial institutions work, when federal governments stop, they don't process work, but then they process it the next day. But then payments come in late and things are all out of whack for the next like 4 days or whatever. It's a mess. It happens every time. So we just kind of hold on to our butts and fix things that break, roll things back, that sort of thing. So same kind of good too. Actually closed 2 deals. Well, man, congrats, Rolls. That's the way it always works. Yeah, one more. Yeah, that's the way I figured it. I got the shot. I got it here. It actually doesn't hurt as bad as the last one. The last booster I got hurt real bad. It left me with a lump. This guy was not gentle, but I still, but usually there's like a lump there. But no, it's pretty good. The wife says her arm doesn't hurt as bad. We'll wait till tomorrow. So I had over 30 dog baths and 60 dogs leaving. So there you go. Yeah. So I can imagine people were on vacation for the holiday weekend, and I know that you work with dog and dog kennels and whatnot, so boarding and anything like that, I'm sure it was hectic over the holiday, for sure. The shot knocked me out. The other and the boosters were just soreness. Yeah, the first 2 knocked me out. I think the first booster really kind of kicked me a little bit, but then after that, it's been pretty clear sailing. I might have a little headache tomorrow, but I don't know what they've changed in the formula, right? This is new Coke, right? So we don't know what's happening this time around for the variant. Anywho, yeah, so I'm all shut up. Going to, oh man, yeah. So, oh man, so yeah, congrats, yeah. Did you get your wristbands? I know that there's been delays on those, that sort of thing. So I know that's kind of been a pain. I'm jealous that you're ahead of me on the patches for me. Yeah, well, I live on bleeding edge, right? I'm subscribed to the beta channel on my releases, so I get the beta patches right up front. So if I turn green, you'll know what's going on, and that's the way it works, right? I gotta put that drop down and go on to just stable patches, right? Not the beta. First 2 shots were both rough. I tested positive after the second one. Felt bad for sometimes that happens. The second, it happens. I know that I've seen people that get the shot. It might have been that you might have caught it before you got the shot, and sometimes the shot can really exasperate it, but which is why they want you not to be positive before you get the shot. But sometimes, you're on the cusp of getting it, and you get it, and then you get the shot, and then it causes all sorts of havoc. But yeah, awesome. The wristbands finally came in. It's the family of 4 going, man. I haven't even priced that out, man. I've been wanting to go. I don't know what the deal is. Disney World and all that kind of stuff is just kind of a thing that I eventually want to do. But I know that some people go through agents, some people go on websites and buy packages. They pay it off. It's an expensive ordeal, but I do want to do it. My kids are getting older. I'd like to go to Disney with them while they're still, the magic of Disney happens. And of course, go into debt, $10,000. So, but yeah. Anywho, let's talk news here. It's been a slow week. As a matter of fact, I've got like 4 tabs. That's pretty much all it is. And I want to talk about one particular bit. I'm a doing this show, doing this type of thing is a creative outlet for me. It's just a way to kind of talk with you guys, like-minded folks in chat. Occasionally get into discussions on Twitter. I never do it for clout. I never do it. I just like to talk about gaming journalism. I like to talk about the passions and the hobbies that I enjoy. That said, though, there are few game journalists that I really follow or care about or have listened to or have religiously read a lot of their stuff. And one of them was Mike Fahey from Kotaku. If you're not familiar who he was one of the oldest individuals still working at Kotaku. And he's I think he was 49. He passed away this weekend. He had been going through some illnesses. I mean, he's just go look him up, go read. I mean, in 2018 he was diagnosed. He went paralyzed from chest down and just started having all sorts of health issues and fighting. And earlier this year in February, he was admitted back to the hospital in February, and he was in and out of the hospital between February, out in March, back in July, and then he apparently went back this week, and he didn't make it. He from my understanding, his wife, Eugene, mentioned on the campaign, stated that it was organ failure. He had been dealing with paralysis of multiple spots. I know that it was like a stomach paralysis, and it was a heartache because this guy is one of these individuals that he's not just a gaming journalist. He was really one of us. The best way to put it, he really was a cool individual. If you're familiar with Fahey in general, he was really famous for, he used to have a session, a section on Kotaku called Snack Taku. He was known for doing toy reviews and geek food and Japanese imported food and the newest fad at random fast food places, from random flavored Oreos to naked chalupa to the double decker thing from KFC. I mean, he would test all that stuff and just kind of give funny / reviews about it, if it's good or not, if it's too salty, if it's whatever. I mean, and he gave really good opinions about games in a very lighthearted way. He really liked games. He was never really negative about anything. He always liked to talk about the positive side of things. And I kind of get that from him in a way. When I read his stuff, I see a lot of myself in that vein of train of thought, in the sense that he always looked at things and just really enjoyed the minutia thing, maybe a story or the music or certain things. And go check him out. Go to Kotaku.com. Go read the eulogy here. Fantastic story, talking about him. And, every one of these is specific stories that he wrote. I mean, you can say here, yes, this was a guy that reviewed toys and snacks for a living. He was also the guy that could make you go, damn, in a blog about Fortnite and Animal Crossing. Fahey wanted to tell you about the dozens of keyboards he owned, to show you that he'd pinpointed the specific symphony of sounds that he heard when he pressed his fingers down on each individual key. Curious to see if you could hear it too. Just good people. Go check it out. There is a link on GoFundMe. His wife, 2 kids. So if you can, give a couple bucks. And this, being a journalist doesn't make you rich in any way, shape, or form. He had all sorts of medical bills. He had been paying medical bills for years and years. I think he had one campaign at one point that I donated to help him buy a bed, because he had no proper bed with adjustability after he got paralyzed, and he was not able to sleep and not be able to be comfortable. And it was just, and of course the healthcare system here in the US doesn't exactly help with that kind of stuff. So it's been a rough story. And it kind of hit me a little bit. So go check it out. Go read his stuff. Rest in power, Mike. I appreciate everything that you did. That's that. So got nothing else to say there. What else? In other news here, Lord of the Rings. It came out. The Ring of Power. This was a series that had been rumored for years. It was in production hell for the longest time. Um, I know that it at one point, I think many years ago, it lost its director, it lost its showrunner, it got back. Amazon kind of was pushing forward, especially with the story that we talked about last week with who is it? They just bought the rights to the whole Lord of the Rings media estate. Embracer Group. So Embracer Group now owns all of this. So it's kind of a weird realm here. But this Lord of the Rings, Ring of Power prequel to the original Lord of the Rings story, short stories and bits of history from the Silmarillion are now being put to media. And I have enjoyed it. And of course, you can't have a geek show or anything like that without the controversy. And I don't even want to talk about it because it infuriates me to no end. The stupidity, the stupidity of my gaming culture, my geek culture at this point in time. I'm so tired of the word woke. Like I can't even anymore. Apparently having a black actor play an elf is somehow or another like historically inaccurate because elves are historical. I don't know anymore. I don't know. But anywho, I have enjoyed it. I've watched the first 2 episodes. I loved it. Have any of you guys watched it? I'm interested in discussion on that because I was blown away. Actually, I was not. I didn't know what I was expecting. I kept falling asleep when my watches Ring of Power. Rudy, are you a Lord of the Rings fan? Because the entire lore, like I can't just watch the Lord of the Rings. I have to watch the extended, and there will be no falling asleep from me. So I will watch all of it, every bit of minutia, all the history, all the like little things, all the details. I love the Lord of the Rings. So yeah, it's so good. It's a deep cut. Yeah, it definitely is. It's interesting how they kind of approach this because it is labeled Lord of the Rings, and I guess people are expecting certain characters that they might know here. And I guess we have seen a few characters that we know, like Cate Blanchett's character, Galadriel. She is a character. Her younger self is a character. Elrond is a younger character in this. Also, characters that we might have heard mentioned. Durin, Prince Durin is in it. I mean, there's all sorts of little characters here and there that's great. It's on the queue, about 8 years away, though. I'm finally going to do Stranger Things. Oh, man, there you go, Rules. Oh, man, Stranger Things, man, you really got to jump on that wagon, man. It's so good, so good. I mean, Adam, that's kind of like, do you like reading the phone book? And then this is the show for you. The Silmarillion is a hard read. It is not a read for someone to pick up. I mean, you usually have to have read The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings multiple times, understood everything, able to place that lore in your head, remember every side character that's introduced in that, only to then read the Silmarillion and understand the geography in your head. Like it's one of those things that it's like if you know, if you don't know or don't know enough, then it's too hard to read. So that said, though, the Ring of Power is taking it and able to turn these stories as something palatable for the normal individual, the normal fantasy seeker, the normal fan. And I'm enjoying it. I don't know where this is going. The Lord of the Rings is spoilery, right? Like as I watched it, I knew what was going to happen. Everyone knew what was going to happen, but the Silmarillion is one of those things that I only know. I didn't know how it ends, right? Like I know the war happens, the Ring of Power happens, the ring gets lost, and Gollum picks it up, and that's where we start everything else, from the Hobbit onward. But I don't know these characters. I don't know who dies, who lives, who gets married, who goes off and has kids. I don't know any of that. And it's exciting to watch something that I am not going to go and read and know the spoilers. I'm sure there's lots of people that know the spoilers and lots of people that know. It's like watching Game of Thrones, right? The original series. Everyone knows what was going to happen up to a point. So this is, I guess, me onward. Yeah. Well, correct, Dan. It is a prequel. It's the Rings of Power. The Ring of Power. It talks about the forging of the rings. It talks about the rise of Sauron and all of that. And it explains. I'm really interested. I really loved the first episode explaining kind of the lore of the elves in the Lord of the Ring. I mean, if you're not familiar with Tolkien, if all you know fantasy wise is things like World of Warcraft and all that, you'd be surprised how much is taken, but how much is not. Tolkien's take on the elves and what wizards are, and what of these, the Undying Lands, and all these different realms, and what Middle Earth is and was, and how the evil came, and all that is so interesting. Like, it's interesting if you're not familiar with it. So definitely go check it out. They just then that T1000 woman shows and kills everything. Yeah, T1000 lady kills her. I guess we're talking about Galadriel. I know that she takes on a ice troll, I guess is what it is. I read The Hobbit, book 1 of Lord of the Rings, and then watched Lord of the Rings movie, and they first came out. When they first came out, then haven't really been interested since. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, then it might not be your type of fantasy, right? It's deep fantasy, right? It's D&D even deeper, right? It pulls from strings and names and lore and all sorts of stuff, and there's like 5 different stories going on, little strings being pulled with different races. You've got the dwarves and the elves and the humans, and not the hobbits. What are they called in this, Adam? If you remember, if you're watching, what are the brown hobbits, the darker skinned hobbits called? I forgot what they were called. Fantastic lore, fantastic setting. It looks better than the Hobbit, I think, which is the Harfoots. Thank you. Yeah, they're great. And again, stay away from the weirdness that is online and reading the random takes and stories. There's a lot of weird undertone of racism going on out there with what they think should be and why things shouldn't be, and why certain actors and characters shouldn't be this and that. I would have thought we'd been past that, but here we are in 2022, and it's worse than ever. I hate to say it, I'm only in the first 30 minutes of the first 2 Lord of the Rings and the first Hobbit movie. I'm always out like a light by that point. Rolls. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's, I'm a fan of like story, right? Like, I'm a fan of like lore, storytelling in general. Like, I'm a big fan. Like, here's a fun fact for me. When I have to drive long distances, 3, 4, 5 hours, if I'm going down the street in Texas, right? That's multiple hour trip. I can't listen to music. Music puts me to sleep. It doesn't matter the music, techno, hard rock, whatever it is. My brain will listen to the beat, listen to the rhythm, and I hear that backbeat over and over in my head, and I will start fading. It's inevitable. Music doesn't work for me. I can listen to some music and then I have to switch. But what I do love are podcasts, storytelling, audiobooks, and that stuff puts my wife to sleep, right? I mean, it did. I think she listens to podcasts now every morning when she goes to work, but spoken word keeps me intrigued. I'm always listening for the next bit, the next story, the next, what's going to happen next. And the Lord of the Rings does that for me. It's always done that for me. Like, it's deep lore. It's story driven. It's not always action packed. The action happens in little bits and pieces. I'm more interested in the like minutia of it all. And so the Lord of the Rings works for me. But yeah, I get it. Falling asleep the Lord of the Rings is not for everyone. But I've got plenty of friends that are the opposite, right? Like, just like me, they crave it. They love it. They love everything about the Lord of the Rings. Sad but true. I need to put myself to bed. I throw one on and it does the trick. My wife hates all things Lord of the Rings. It's hard for me to be interested in it. Oh man, Dan, I'm sorry. I watched The Wedding Singer the other night. Great story there. Yes, that is a great story. Sweet coffee. Oh yeah. I don't know what to tell you. If you guys haven't watched Lord of the Rings or can't get through it, then the Ring of Power is probably not going to be for you. But yeah, that's all I can say about that. I really don't have anything else to say there. I know the new season of Rick and Morty started, season 6. I haven't watched it. If anyone watched it, tell me how it is. I'm interested. I have no hate for the show, and the community, just like every fandom nowadays, sucks. And I think that's the theme, right? The theme is that everything exists and everything has fandoms, and fandoms ruin things for other people. So I'm so done with fandoms. I'm done with the fandom of Rick and Morty. I'm done with the fandom of all of the other things. So it's not for me. I don't care for it. But that said, though, Rick and Morty, I take what it is. It is Rick and Morty, and it's funny, so I'm gonna watch it. So yeah, season 6 just kicked off, and there we go. Go check it out if you're interested in that. The game that should have died, the game that, well, not should have, the game that fell when it came out, faltered and fell and not broke its knee and ankle and every bone in its body on its launch. Cyberpunk 2077 is patched now. It works. It's a game now. It is a complete game. You know, a little under a year, a little over a year later, whatever. I think is finally when it's functioning. And so today they've announced its first DLC or its first expansion. So let's check out this trailer because I haven't watched it yet, and I'm excited to see it.
Repeat after me. I, V, do solemnly swear.
I, V, do solemnly swear
that I shall faithfully serve the new United States of America.
That I shall faithfully serve the new United States of America.
On behalf of all Americans, I thank you for your service.
You know, taking that oath. Bad idea.
Well, all right. Yeah, so that one's interesting. I know that we're Keanu is back for that one. I think you heard him speak there. Whatever. That's also one of those games that I didn't get through originally because it was so broken. I ran into a couple of game-ending glitches for myself, and I couldn't finish it, and I never went back for it. I don't know. I think he enjoys it. So this is the thing, right? Back to storytelling. Like Cyberpunk is actually a pretty good story. The Cyberpunk lore, even before this game came out, I mean, there was Cyberpunk lore. It is a franchise. I mean, there was tabletop games based off of it. There were other games based off of it at one point. And so Cyberpunk 2077 is just another continuation of that. That said, though, I was very interested in playing the original game because of the story, but I couldn't get through some of the parts. The combat is so bad in that game. I just, it's a slog to kind of get through some of the missions. And I really never sat down and kind of pushed through it. So maybe I'll do that at some point now that the game is, closer to a complete patch and there's less problems with it. So I might check it out. But there we go. We've got a expansion for a game that I really would have thought that maybe would have canceled that because it did so bad originally. But maybe they're going to try to harness that new, because I remember they just got a show on Netflix, or they've got a trailer coming out, or I'm sorry, an anime based on Cyberpunk is coming out, and that I think is going to reigniting the franchise, or reigniting the talk about it. So I'm wondering if maybe that's their idea, is maybe to do kind of like a soft relaunch of the game with this new DLC. Also, one of the things, if you notice at the bottom there, it's PC and only next gen consoles. So this expansion does not work or function with Xbox One and PS4. So if you bought the game for those, you have to play it on the new consoles. So I know all those versions of the game have a way to kind of pay, or the Xbox One is smart delivery and automatically upgrades to the Series X version, but the PS4 one, I don't remember if it does or not. I think I don't know. I don't remember. I know that if you only own those consoles, you won't be able to play this version of the game. So who knows? Yeah, maybe he did all his parts years ago. Who knows? I mean, maybe. I'm sure he might have. He recorded everything. for it. So yeah, that's exciting. I mean, again, more geekdom, more stories, that sort of thing. All right, so I want to cue this joke here because this joke is just too good for the console that no one can get. For the console that seems to be always out of stock, you can now get faceplates and colors that hide it in your house. So you can now get camouflage colored controllers and faceplates for the PS5. I mean, the jokes write themselves, right? Right? I mean, I'm not the only one. This is. And I don't know why they would advertise a blank screen here. Ha ha ha. PlayStation. So, yeah. Anywho, I think that's interesting that we've got more faceplates and stuff for our console. It hasn't been. That's right. There you go, Dan. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. For the member of the family that loses every single remote, now gets the skin that matches the exact color of your couch. That's right. Sweet. Speaking of PS5 and PS4 and Sony in general and all that, I mean, we talked a little bit about the price raise a couple weeks ago. I think if you remember, the price hike was talked about internationally, not here in the US. With all that in mind, it is a console that cannot be found at store shelves at the moment. People would say that that's because it's so popular that they get pulled off the shelves very quickly. I'm sure that's it, right? It sells like hotcakes. Everyone wants one. I have one. I've had one since launch. I am blessed to have been able to pre-order one and get one from the very beginning. That said, though, it is my least played console. I won't lie and say that I'm not a fan of Sony's weird consumer traits. It's weird price hikes of games. It's weirdness on backwards compatibility and the features. And it gives me less of a reason to turn it on to play a game. More, how do I rephrase this? I love the exclusives on the Sony console. I love Sony's exclusives. They're fantastic, but when they come out, I'll sit down and play it, and then when I'm done, I turn it off. I don't tend to linger around the Sony PlayStation library very often because I can then go turn on my Xbox and go on Game Pass and see what new games I've received, whether it's independent games or not, and I haven't paid anything for them. It just seems to be one of those things where the Xbox has become my console for discovery of games that I didn't even know I wanted to play, and then I play them there. And the PS5 is the console that I power on to play the game that they told me I can play. Does that make sense? Like, they told me I'm going to be able to play the new Spider-Man, or they told me I'm going to be able to play the new God of War or the new Horizons. And so that game is the only place to play it on. So that's where I'm going to play it. But then once I'm done with that, I turn it off. They don't really give me a level of discovery. On the other side, on the flip side, the Xbox hasn't had too many exclusives, if at all, right? That's the joke. But that said, though, it has more games than the other console, only because I can turn on Game Pass and I'm getting 4 or 5 games every Tuesday from Game Pass. Whether it be something I've never heard of or something that I might have already played or something that maybe I avoided at one point because I didn't want to pay for it. Then I got it on Game Pass and then I play it and then I find out that, man, I should have played this day one. It's interesting. It's a completely different, we've talked about it here on the show. I've talked about it. This has been my constant mention that it feels like Sony followed a different playbook when it came down to the release of the PS5. They followed the playbook that was already written, the PS4 playbook. And in a day and age where I think the response of Xbox was to give more right up front, give more with Game Pass, give more with backwards compatibility. Even though they don't have the exclusives right up front day one, what they did have is the access to games that you might not have been able to play before. And a lot of them at once, without fail. Just download them and you're set. And that's where the subscription model versus buy your $70 game. And it's interesting to me, and again, I reemphasize this, Sony Studios or PlayStation Studios, published MLB The Show, the baseball game that they release every year. And the fact that here's a game that is the only MLB game that you can play every year, published by Sony, comes out for free day one on Game Pass, but you have to pay $70 on PlayStation 5 to play it. And it's a PlayStation Studios game. Like, it just blows my mind that that was allowed to happen. Not saying that maybe a lot of people played on Game Pass, but it's the idea that, like, here's a game studio and Sony knows that, hey, let's get this into the hands of more people so they can play it. And let's give it for free on one console, and the home console that it belongs in is $70. It's weird. It's just a weird thought process there. Yeah, self-inflicted wound. I'm not sure. It's good that you turn it off with electric prices. Yeah. And then there's Nintendo where you get, right. Nintendo gives you old games, but at the same time, at least with Nintendo, right? The difference being that even a new game is only $59, not $79, not $69, so $10 cheaper. And when a game comes out for the Switch, it's sometimes an indie game or something that I can either get on Game Pass or I want to have it portable. So, like, I had a discussion with a buddy of mine yesterday. We were talking about, like, the two mountains, right? So Sony and PlayStation are fighting this one big mountain in battle, trying to see who sits on top of this mountain. Nintendo's sitting on a mountain on its own. Like, there's no one competing against it. No one competing against its like style of release and gameplay. Its hardware is underpowered, but it's portable. It has franchises that no one else has. So Switch is just not even in the conversation nowadays, right? Switch is the and console. What do you own? Xbox and Switch. What do you own? PS5 and Switch. It's not only Switch. And if it is only Switch, you're not starving for games. You get tons of good games, tons of independent games, tons of exclusive games from Nintendo. But, if you want to play some of the AAA, if you got a PC, you can play them. Considering that a lot of the titles like Death Stranding and Spider-Man Remastered is now on Steam. You can now, if you've got a PC, you can play them on there. Yeah, you're playing them way later than everyone else, but you can still play them. God of War is on there. So you can play the new God of War, not new, not Ragnarok, but the new PS4 one on PC at a higher resolution, better graphics, that sort of thing on a non-Sony platform. So again, it's not impossible. I think Sony is realizing that they can sell things on another console, and even the Switch has the show for $60. There you go. So this, the show is on the Switch for $59.99, which is still $10. I mean, graphically it's less, right? But I mean, still it's $10 cheaper than the Sony PS5 version. It's just wild to me. That is a wild thing. I feel like that doesn't get talked about enough. Or maybe it does and no one cares, right? Who knows? And speaking of Sony and what they release here, Last of Us Part 1, the remaster, the interesting, like, how do I put this here? I don't know. What do you call it? A remake? Remaster? So Last of Us Part 1 was released last week, and reviews went out, and it's good. It's fine. It's a fantastic game. I feel like, man, this is like, it's not like I have enough people watching my show that are going to get on me, but I don't care. I don't care. I know that the media has really given it a pass this time around. Every review talked about all the new things, the foliage and how great, and the lighting is better on this one. And that's great. Cool. We got a remaster, but we got a remaster for a game that was out on PS3 and PS4, right? So we had the PS3 version, the PS4 remaster, and this is the remake. I don't know. It is a weird remake of a game. I do appreciate some of the pluses here. The accessibility options are different. The lighting is different. There was one thing in the story that was changed that I won't spoil. It has something to do with the end. The combat system matches Part 2 better. So if you're familiar with the controls and the loadout and all that is now equal. The gunsmithing is better. It's not just a menu system. There's actual animations and stuff that happen. It is a whole new game, but I just don't know. Don't let that distract you from the fact that there's someone out there right now, this very second, coding the horse testicles for RDR. Yeah, that's exactly right, Rolls. That's exactly right. I mean, no, well, I mean, or some sort of minutia engine for Grand Theft Auto 5.5, right? Or 6, I don't know anymore. You're absolutely right. Yeah, look, it's the same story, same game, same voice acting, new character models, new lighting, new combat system. AI has been improved. The foliage is deeper. It is technically a better game. If you are going to buy only one version of the game, buy this one at $70. Or if you already have a PS5, you can go on and get a free copy with PlayStation Gold and get a free copy of The Last of Us and play the PS4 version for free. I don't, again, I don't know. This is an interesting remake because it's Sony, right? I feel like it gets a pass. It gets a oh, but Sony did so well, and Naughty Dog did so well, and all of this, and I get it. Developers worked on it. I'm not disparaging the developers. It's something that I just feel like probably shouldn't have been greenlit to begin with. But here we are, 2022, and we have yet another release of The Last of Us, this time a remake. So I guess we should just ignore the PS3 and PS4 version now because the PS5 version is the definitive version. So there we go. Go play that and then play part 2 and then be angry about part 2 because I feel like everyone forgot that no one liked the ending to part 2. So, yeah, anywho. I don't know anymore. I don't know. It's such an interesting story, an interesting version of the game to come out. PAX West, what are we calling it now? PAX West. So PAX in Seattle happened this weekend. Looks like there was some good stuff announced. I don't even have a list. Right, they don't. That's exactly right, Dan. Thank you for bringing that up. They don't acknowledge old games, right? They don't really care about. They care about the past only if they can make money of it on the future, right? And this is one of those times where they just threw money at it again to get it remastered, only to charge you $70 for a game that they can give away for free. So there's that. Yeah. And of course, all the reviewers are like, oh man, I don't remember the PS4 version looking this bad, but then I went back and played the PS4 version before this version, and I could notice the difference and this and that, and everything was forgiven. All of the reasonings behind this remake were forgiven. There hasn't been a review. If anyone knows a review out there that actually said this was unnecessary, I would love to watch it because I feel like everyone was just like, oh, well, it's The Last of Us. It's The Last of Us Part 1. It's a great game. It's a great story. So why not have it remastered and redone and remodeled and resold to us again? I don't know. Whatever. That's here we are. Pepper. Gamescom and PAX West happened last week and week before last. One of the things that I wanted to share is we now have a overview to Sonic Frontiers, and I wanted to watch that online with you guys. Let's watch this.
All islands in search of Chaos Emeralds with his friends, Amy and Tails.
This is an interesting overview. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Suddenly sucking their plane into a dimensional portal. Our bristly hero awakens in a strange, digital world called cyberspace. Despite being separated from his friends,
Sonic miraculously escapes from this alternate dimension and arrives on Kronos,
one of the beautiful Starfall Islands. A curious wilderness full of ancient ruins, strange inhabitants, and sinister enemies. Our loyal Blue Hedgehog must now find his lost friends, explore this exotic world, and solve the mystery of the Starfall Islands. Sonic Frontiers expands on what fans know and love about traditional Sonic games, combining linear
Tell me if anyone has a
gameplay
weird
and
vibe about
open
this
zone
overview
platforming into a new action-filled Sonic experience.
I'll talk about it afterwards, but
the world map is bigger than ever, giving Sonic more room to run and explore his surroundings. Sonic Frontiers offers high-speed, open-zone gameplay that gives you the freedom to play the game in the order that best matches your playstyle. Engage in exhilarating combat with exciting new enemies, solve intriguing puzzles, and complete fun side quests to help rescue Sonic's friends. Solving puzzles will reward the player with items that can increase Sonic's power and defense. reveal hidden parts of the map, and unlock new ways to navigate the island at fast speeds. Scattered around the Starfall Islands are cyberspace portals. Defeat bosses throughout the island to earn portal gears that unlock these stages. You'll need to complete challenges within each cyberspace stage to earn vault keys that can be used to unlock Chaos Emerald vaults and allow you to progress further in the game. In Sonic Frontiers, Sonic's combat gets an upgrade, making battling enemies more exciting and fluid than ever before. With an all-new skill tree system featuring a host of new abilities to unlock and level up, you'll have plenty of options to fight strategically, combine dodges, parries, counters, and more. If you prefer more straightforward gameplay, check out Auto Combos, where various attack combos can be executed with a single button. These modes make it possible for all Sonic fans to easily enjoy the fast and flexible new combat system. Sonic's enhancements don't stop there. He's learned a new ability called Silute, a band of light that mirrors Sonic's tracks. Surround enemies, items, and areas to uncover different effects and unlock all the secrets of the Starfall Islands. Get ready to blaze your own trail and forge a new frontier in Sonic Frontiers. Available November 8th. Stay tuned for more details.
Yeah, Dan, right? So you just nailed it right on the head, right? Sounds like it's made for people who don't play video games. This trailer, it rubs me the wrong way, not because I'm not excited for the game, but because it's like Sega doesn't know how to market its games. Could you imagine a Legend of Zelda trailer like this for Breath of the Wild where they went, and Link now picks up twigs and they can be a weapon, and now he can solve puzzles, and through combat he can gain abilities. I'm like, that's obvious. Like, I feel like you're telling me that you can progress in a game. You're basically describing an action RPG. You're just telling me that's what it is. Like, they could have put music to this. They could have just let the visuals and the action tell me. But instead, that's not what we got. We got this weird explanation tutorial / marketing thing that just is weird to me. I don't get it. I love how they're like, oh, and this thing can unlock things, and there are hubs, and you can do this. And I'm like, that's how you progress in a game. By doing this, you do this, and you can then do this. I don't understand. This is such a weird form of marketing for an established character. And I get it. I get that Sega has had a weird relationship with Sonic and the fans and the people that play these games and the type of who they get for the studio to make the game. It's disingenuous to the character. It's disingenuous to the fans when you have to kind of baby talk. You're convincing me to play. No, guys, check it out. He can do this and he can do this. I'm like, just let the game speak for itself. Show me booming music, show me the visuals, and show me the gameplay, and that's it. This overview thing is so weird. It's weird marketing since Sega. What's going on, Tim? Are they making so much money from the movies that they don't need the game revenue as much anymore? Honest question. No. Don't get me wrong. The Sonic the Hedgehog movies made a lot of money for them, and it brought the character into the mainstream media to people that might not have played games, kids, that sort of thing. Because I guarantee there were tons of kids that had never played a Sonic game, but maybe their parents had, and so their parents took their kids to the movie, and they took them because it's a family flick, it's a movie flick, it's a kids flick, so they watched it and they become Sonic fans without ever playing the video game. Ever. So this is weird in the marketing sense that hey, here's finally this big epic adventure for Sonic. This is the Breath of the Wild for Sonic. This is a big magnum opus, an open world game with action, adventure, and progression and leveling. You level up Sonic. Sonic gets new abilities as he progresses in the game, and they kind of explain it like it's something that has never happened, or you should expect this from Sonic, that it's never like, I get it. Sonic has never had a game like this before, but we knew that. That's why, the moment you tell us it's an open world game, we're like, oh, well, okay. That's how open world games work. You have to progress and make, because if not, then everything is as easy as the first zone you start in, right? Like Breath of the Wild, for example, is one of those games where you can go anywhere. And if you walk out of the cave and walk up to a guardian, you're going to get killed immediately, because that's an area of the map that you can't get to, or you shouldn't be, without the proper equipment, gear, level, the amount of hearts, the amount of experience, stamina, all that kind of stuff. It's just weird. Right, exactly. It's you're telling me about open world games and how open world game mechanics work regarding Sonic, but like all of those mechanics you described outside of the very specific Sonic ones, like he now can run, and like also you've taken some of the mystery away out of it. Like I don't know, maybe the Psyloop thing is something you unlock later on, maybe an hour or two into the game, and you've now spoiled that because you have to tell me. So you have to look, guys, he's got this new ability. Now will you buy the game? Like, I don't know what the marketing is doing here. They're not letting the game sell itself. You're letting the marketing speak. Like it's like someone wrote a bullet point or a PowerPoint and read it while the trailer went on. Like they just got to hit all of these bullet points to explain it to people. But we don't need to, but we're going to. Just a weird overview trailer. Shouldn't have happened. I don't know. Nintendo's kind of the master at marketing for this kind of stuff. When Breath of the Wild trailers came out, they put booming music and just clips of and everyone just speculated about what he could do and couldn't do. And then eventually you had, right before the game launched, you had people from Nintendo played on stage or played at the Nintendo Treehouse live thing. They did a stream showing the game, showing some of the mechanics, but it wasn't a trailer. It was like, hey, let's have people of Sega or people of Nintendo show up and play this game and show you some of the abilities without spoiling anything. But this is like, hey, he could do this, and when later on he gets to do this, and later on he gets to do this. Like, why are you selling me about the later part of the game now? Can the game not speak for itself? Who are you reassuring? Your fans are going to buy this game. It's weird marketing. It's bad marketing. And it also the least exciting voice I've ever heard when it came down to marketing. Just and now Sonic can do this. I'm like, that's not where's the epicness of this? I don't know. Yeah, right. I mean, really, no, yeah. But I mean, it's money. It's that's what I'm talking about. That's the level of hype that I'm talking about. I mean, what was the last trailer for Breath of the Wild 2? I mean, Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. What was the last trailer that launched for that? A year ago. 1 year ago. It's got 11 million views 1 year ago. And I'm going to play it. And let me tell you, we don't know jack about this. This is what we got. Now, mind you, we've played the first one, so we know how the mechanics work, right? So it is a sequel, but this is a story. We don't know anything about the story of Sonic Frontiers. We don't know any of the cinematics. Why is he on these islands? Show me a trailer like this. What does that thing do? Oh, look, he has new abilities. He can do this. What does that do? I don't need an explanation. Let the game tell me. Don't spoil anything. Oh, what? He can go through a rock? That's cool. We don't even have a title for this game, by the way. I just remember that. That's the genius of marketing from Nintendo. There's no title. There's nothing. There was nothing. That's it. There's no title. There's nothing. We don't know what he's even called. Everyone's calling it Breath of the Wild 2, but we don't know what it's called. No one knows what it's called, and you're right. Like we every week we get some rumor mill or whatever, but none of it matters because we don't know the title of it. That's marketing right there, and that's why Sega is where it's at. It's the marketing structure for Sega could have done better. The lore of Sonic and its fans would have accepted it. Give me good music, give me cool mechanics, show me a good sizzle reel like that, and I would have been there day one. But we didn't get that. We got that weird marketing bullet point thing. And that's disappointing. That's really disappointing. Again, that doesn't mean the game's gonna be bad, but it makes me feel uncomfortable about the status of the game. Like they have to really hype you up by telling you about the things that it has in an open world game. So I don't know. All right. Well, that's all I got, man. I burned an hour on nothing. It was nothing. What's everyone playing out there? Dan, what are you playing? Rolls, what are you watching? Football season's starting. What's going on? Adam, what are you doing? What's everyone doing in here? It's a quiet day in chat. We don't have as many viewers today. I think Pedro brings all the sexy. I just bring all the ranty. Yeah, Link has a bow and arrow and can shoot it at his enemies. That's exactly right. That's all. There you go. I played most of the demo for Dragon Quest XI. Okay, fair enough. That's a tough game to get into. Like if you haven't played it, I mean, if you're a Dragon Quest fan, then it's you'll get into it. I'm fighting with Facebook pages, new layout. They made all my pages convert. Oh yeah, all of them have moved over if you manage any pages. So I'm interested to see how that works out. I don't do that stuff anymore. I don't do any of the Facebook managing anymore on my side hustle, so I'm good for that. But I haven't looked at the Mid-Geek Crisis page, so I need to check that out. Watching baseball as per usual. Also watching chess. The Cup is going on right now with some drama for chess. Interesting. Busy with what, Brandon? What's going on? What's going on? What's the other stuff that's ambiguous? I might not buy the new Destiny expansion, but I probably will because I'm a I didn't watch the information for that, but I definitely am intrigued by it. Oh, thank you for reminding me that you remind me of Destiny, because Bungie. Another bit of news that dropped this week that just kind of not under the radar, but just makes people sad. 343, developers of Halo Infinite. This is a game that's just feels like it was never complete from the moment it was launched. They have canceled the co-op. They have canceled the split screen co-op. That's sad because Halo, they said they couldn't get it to work. They just couldn't make it happen. And that's sad because every Halo up to 5 did not have it, which already speaks a lot. And 343 can't do it for Infinite either. So that's a feature that's gone. This game is interesting. I think the fans are not really digging what 343 is doing. It's sad to see a franchise like that just get hated on. So Destiny, I mean, I know that Bungie's done some good stuff and they've retained its fans for sure. 10-hour plus demo, yeah. It is a long demo. I remember playing it the first time. I don't know. This dish on chess drama. Yeah, I'm sure I want to hear about it. I'm sure you've already covered it, but I heard it. Yeah, so there's this rumor pops up every few years. I don't know. Capcom doesn't really know what to do with any of its freaking franchises anymore. Street Fighter 6 looks fantastic. I think that's the only thing they can really handle right now. I think they should just allow SNK to do it. Let SNK do an SNK versus Capcom kind of thing on the new King of Fighters engine that they've got running, the Unreal Engine, kind of like they did with King of Fighters 15, because that would look great because it would be a 2D fighter with Street Fighter characters in the King of Fighters world. That would be awesome. So that's my take on it. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I would love for it to happen. Nightly medicine routine. I had to prepare Disney doing some stuff in EverQuest with guildmates. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, EQ, man. EQ. Basically, TLDR, one player is possibly suspected of cheating. The top chess player in the world withdrew from the tournament. It's getting interesting. Oh, wow. Been watching a bit more of the Dragon Quest Adventures Die. Really, yeah, I've heard good things. I I want to sit down and watch it eventually. Can I Apple fanboy for a minute? You know, I don't usually do it on the show because, you know, not everyone's an Apple fan, but I will because I'm by myself and there's no Pedro here. Of course, I worked for the company for so long. I am in the Apple ecosystem. At the same time, I'm in the PC ecosystem. I own everything and all. Behind me are old vintage Macs, you know, that I like to tweak and play around with and whatever. I have an iPhone. I have an Apple Watch. I have iPads. I have a MacBook Pro right here that I use. I've got Apple monitors and whatnot. I love Apple and I love all tech. Apple makes me excited because Apple tends to drive things in a very different way. Even if it's expensive or in general, some people will always say, well, they don't innovate anymore. They always wait. They're always behind. But my argument for that is they're not bleeding edge, right? Not anymore. They're reserved. A good example that I always give is NFC payment. So NFC payments, for example, like Google Wallet or Google Pay or whatever, was around for years before Apple Pay came out. But Google didn't know how to market it, didn't know how to work it. Then Apple announces it, makes it a key feature, talks to all these banks, makes all these retailers put stickers on there for Apple Pay. And all of a sudden, everyone is paying with NFC. What did Google have to do? Is they had to rebrand it to Google Pay, as opposed to, was it Google Wallet is what it was called before? They rebranded it so that they can compete as well. It's an interesting take. It's just like, yes, it existed. They didn't do anything new, but they marketed it well. So yeah, that's where Apple lies. So we're getting the announcement for the iPhone 14 tomorrow. We're probably going to get new watches. Things will be expensive. I don't know what to expect. Everyone always wants big and flashy when it comes down to announcements, but we have hit kind of a incremental age in tech where the change in tech is never going to be as drastic as it once was, right? It won't be the days of iPhone 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 those were big jumps. Screen sizes were bigger. The CPUs and RAM and all that were different. Operating systems were different. The social media, 5G wasn't a thing yet. So, but now we're kind of hit this lull where every phone kind of looks the same, unless it's a flip with Samsung, which again, as much as I'm an Apple fan, I appreciate Samsung doing that, being innovative on that realm, having the foldable phones again, and that will push someone who knows if Apple will ever release a foldable phone. But it's interesting. I definitely dig it. That said, though, it looks like they don't have too much competition on that side of things. So the new 4, the Fold 4 and the Flip 4, compared to the Fold 3 and the Flip 3, didn't change much. All the reviews are like there wasn't much of a change, which is, again, that's dangerous for a company that's pushing new tech like Samsung. If they don't have someone that has got a fire lit under them, then they get complacent and they don't innovate and they get slow on the uptake. So when Apple pushes them and Apple does things and they change things, then Samsung comes back around and responds. So my dad got one of those Samsung flip phones. He didn't care for it. That's interesting. Yeah, some people like it, some people don't. I mean, it's got a fragile screen. It's the soft OLED screen, and whether you like it or not, it's weird. I'm always looking for a reason. I'm waiting for Apple to give me one. Apple needs to hurry up and make good flip. I mean, and that's the thing, right? So that's the argument. Samsung came out with it. When Apple does, they will have looked at all of the competitors, see what they've done, see the mistakes that they've made, and come in and make something that's probably pretty cool. It's very rare when Apple releases a piece of hardware that doesn't hit the engineering mark. That said, though, I mean, they always get the jokes, the notch and all that kind of stuff, but they do their reasons and the way it works. People want under finger, under the screen thumbprint readers. Yet everyone I talk to hates it. There's some people that like it, but the majority of the time they're like, I hate it. It never reads it properly. That sonic, the subsonic, reader is not always as fast. They miss the Touch ID, that sort of thing. People that flipped over to Android from Apple, it's just a weird thing. So maybe Apple's, I don't know why they haven't done it, but I just wish that they would just do it on the give me the Apple ID on the Touch ID on the power button like they do with the iPad Air. I mean, it's not like they don't have the SKU. They've got a button with a Touch ID. It works. Just give it to me there. But new watch is coming out. Apparently, we're gonna get an announcement for that. My watch. This is a Series 4 or Series 5. I can't even remember anymore. But it might be time for an upgrade. I saw today that Apple passed Android in the U.S. market share. It's pretty well. I mean, so I saw an article on that too. Not that one, but I did see that it has a lot to do with the youth, right? Apple is popular with the youth. Apple is popular with the the iMessage and the green bubble versus blue bubble, and it's so funny. Applications like TikTok and Snapchat and all the social media ones, they're written better in iOS. The cameras look better in iOS. It has a lot to do with that. Like, have these developers, they write for iOS and they port to Android, and so it doesn't perform as well. So it's a give and take on that side of things, for sure. Yes, Apple will make it right, and then I'll make the switch to the dark side. That's for sure. Yeah, Face ID was great, and then COVID happened, and then face masks, and so now the best way to do it is with the newest updates and whatnot. If you have an Apple Watch and you put a mask on, it'll detect it and it'll unlock it without it. You can now. It's just a mess. It's a mess. I think Apple had no idea that COVID and masking was going to be a thing. No one knew, right? Next iPhone. I just hope that they move the volume button up. I think my camera roll is filled with about 50 irrelevant. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't like that either. They do the constant screenshot. That would be cool. I don't think it's moving though, sadly. I got my first Face ID phone in January 20. Yeah, I know, right? It was tough for anyone that jumped over from Touch ID to Face ID. That was definitely a thing. I don't know. The update for the 14 is going to be camera. The notch will get smaller, but same form factor as iPhone 13. Interesting take on the 13 on the 14 base getting the same processor as this year, and the Pro getting the new processor. That's a new thing. Those are the rumors, at least. At the same time, Apple has been kicking butt with its silicon CPU. Phones from last year still benchmark faster than anything Android or Samsung or Qualcomm has put out this year. They just add more RAM to it, and it'll kick even more butt. Like it's interesting. They've hit this, like, their CPUs and their SoCs and their silicon is so powerful and so optimized for their operating system that a chip from 2-3 years ago doesn't feel any slower because they've optimized it so well. It's very hard to find a phone within the modern Apple ecosystem, like an iPhone 12, 11, 12, 13. All of those have such good chips in them that a lot of people make it hard to upgrade. So Apple holds back certain features by software, right? Like certain features that they add to the software will only be on newer models, which makes the consumer want to upgrade because they want that feature. Yeah, man. My MacBook, I've got an M1 Pro and it's fantastic. It's so great. I have no fear in the movement to ARM and Apple Silicon. It's an interesting take. They get to optimize battery. The battery life on the MacBook Pro is absolutely phenomenal. Intel and AMD need to watch out. Of course, that's been the take. The performance to power ratio is absolutely huge. It's something that's just, it's magic. I hate to say it. I hate to put that out there, but optimizing an operating system like that and getting 20 hours battery life on a laptop is absolutely ridiculous. Just nuts. So that's where Apple's at. So yes, tomorrow's an event. If you're one of those individuals that like technology and whatnot and like to watch Apple events, I tend to watch it. I'll hop into a chat with friends and we'll talk about it. If anyone ever wants me to do that, I will hop on and do something like that. But Apple events are always fun. It's always we're suckers for it, right? Because if you're an Apple fan, to crave disappointment, but at the same time, you're excited for it. Like, we all want more. We all want USB-C. We're not going to get USB-C. I don't know why we're not getting USB-C, but it's not happening this year. Rumor is it won't happen until iPhone 15. I still don't understand why. I don't get it. The Club Federighi tries to get. That's right. So, folks, that's it. So tomorrow, go watch your Apple event. I'll talk about it next week, or I won't, because Pedro doesn't care. Because I think Pedro uses a rock as a phone. So it's a rock with a happy face on it, and yeah. That is, no, buddy, no. Judging from the fact that I had to install 9.2 on this on that G4 the other day, I do not miss OS 9 at all. Everything past 10.4 is the best. 10.4 onward is the way to go. Yeah, man. No problem. I still use Android. Someday I may buy it. But again, there's nothing wrong with Android. It's exciting, right? Like Android is a fantastic ecosystem. It's gotten better. There's a constant talk about that particular operating system, where at one point it was really open and everyone was just tweaking it, messing with it, whatever. And slowly but surely, as I predicted, and again, this is just, there's nothing I don't have it on tape or anything, but I predicted this years ago that Android and Google in general would slowly but surely start closing that walled garden around Android users, knowing that security and privacy and the safety of an ecosystem was important to their consumer. And eventually you come to find out that Android is probably just as locked down and walled gardened as Apple, right? Like, yes, you do have choice in a way. There is still a tiny bit more choice, but honestly, there's not a day that goes by that I don't hear of like random application that is on the Google store or whatever that snuck through and had some sort of like privacy worm that siphoned information or data or leak or whatever. And that has to do a lot with the nature of the vetting of the applications on Android, because Android is so fragmented, right? Like there are people running, 15 different versions of Android and different manufacturers. And again, I'm trying not to be fanboy, right? I'm trying to be like as middle of the ground as possible, but go to apple.com/privacy. Go check it out. It's a page that I constantly used to push customers to. It is kind of a big page for them. And the way they put it, I guess the short answer is Apple doesn't. It's the reason why Siri sucks. How about that? Everyone always complains that Siri is lacking, right? It's not as good as the Amazon one. I'm not going to say it because my glasses will beep, right? I've got the Echo frames on, and it's the reason why Google is so good, is because they mine information. Everything you say, you do, you chat, you whatever, they mine that information and it makes their assistant better. Siri is not like that. And so apple.com/privacy talks about that. They talk about the fact that yes, I do have, of course, yeah, that's what these are. These are the Echo frames. That said, they sell hardware, and they want to sell you this expensive hardware in their ecosystem. They don't need to make money off your privacy or your information. Again, I there's all sorts of, like, I'm sure there's caveats and whatever else, but apple.com/privacy will talk about that. They pretty much like to put it out there and say, we don't make money. We don't have to make money off your information. We make money by selling you products. Simple as that. And so Google and Android and Amazon, they make money not only from selling you products on their website, but from information, right? So info is the most expensive and most awesome thing. As a weirdo, yeah. I wear them all the time, man. I wear them all the time, but I haven't muted. Sometimes, but yeah, I wear it all the time. Again, I have already given up. As a tech consumer, I have an Echo in my room. Not all the time. They don't see anything, man. Like they don't like. Yeah, I mean, no different than my Echo in the other room. If you've got an Echo in a room, they hear everything. So everywhere I'm at, they're there. So yeah, I have them on all the time. But yeah, there's a conversation for that. What was the new feature that was added to the iPhone last year? No, that was this year. The custom background was this year. Of course it is. It's listening in the other room. If you with the Echo, you can walk up to it and just talk to it like this. It's called whisper mode. If you talk to it like this, it will hear you. It's ridiculously. If you didn't know your Echo has a whisper mode, ask it to do something in a very creepy, small, whispery voice, and it'll do it. Because that's how sensitive it is. I do it when the wife is asleep and I want to play some sleep sounds. I walk up to it so it doesn't. If you talk to it in whisper mode, it doesn't talk back. It just goes doo-doo and does the command. Yes, sometimes it does. It'll say, if you want to hear more whisper mode, keep talking to me like this. It'll say stuff like that, like the first time you do it. But sometimes it does whisper back, but most of the time it doesn't. But yeah, it does whisper. It's creepy. It's super creepy. Yeah, I mean, like, I've given up on the privacy side of things for me, but for other consumers, I'm just stating that there are reasons to switch for your main phone. Keep talking to me like this. That's right. That's right. It is creepy. I'm serious. Go whisper to any of your devices. It doesn't talk. Okay, dog, I'm picking up what you're putting down. That's right. Man, it's look, I'm a consumer whore and how, right? Like I've got there's Amazon products and Apple products and Android products and Nvidia products and ATI products and all consumers and Nike and Reebok and all of them within this house, and Nintendo, Sega, Sony, Xbox, all of them, Atari, no Amico Vision, no Amico, no Intellivision, but I consume so that I can talk about it. All right, folks, that's it. Hour and 16. I appreciate you guys keeping me talking about this kind of stuff. I enjoy it. Like, subscribe, share. We'll be back next week. Pedro will be back, and I'm sure he's going to be like, "Why did you talk about that?" And I'm going to be like, "I don't know, because you weren't here." So, you know what it is. Go follow us on Twitch. Go follow us on YouTube. Go. We've got some good subscribers there. We do have merch. Go themidgeekcrisis.com. There's a merch button there. That's the easiest way for me to tell you. I know there's a merch link, but I forgot it. It won't do that. It won't do it. There you go. TMG.coffee. There you go. I appreciate that. That's the link. That's the short link. So TMG.coffee. That'll take you right to the page. I need to make sure that it's still up. I think there was a problem with something, and I need to check it out. But all right, folks, another episode in the can. I appreciate it. Be kind. See you next week.